Before we get started, I'd like to go over some logistical information with you. Today's webinar will be 60 minutes in length. Everyone is on mute during today's presentation. To ask questions, please use the chat or the questions sub-panel, and these questions will be addressed during the last 15 minutes of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be available on the Paymetric website within the next few days. A link to the recording and a PDF version of the presentation will also be sent to you. At this time, I'd like to introduce today's speakers. Eric Bushman, Vice President, Solutions Engineering for Paymetric, and Gerald Schletcher, President and co-founder of CNBS. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Eric Bushman. I'm the Vice President of Solutions Engineering at Paymetric. I work out of our Austin, Texas office. Paymetric is headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, and we specialize in secure integrated payment solutions, particularly in the SAP market, but also in other markets as well. And we're very glad to have Gerald join us today and talk to us about how CNBS has taken some of Paymetric services and solutions and integrated them into a solution which they offer to allow for payment of open invoices online. Very good synergy between our two companies with this solution. So next slide, please. I guess while we're getting that going, here we go. So the agenda that we have for you today is a quick overview about Paymetric, and then I'm going to turn it over to Gerald, and he'll give us an overview of CNBS. And then we'll jump into the CNBS Web AR solution overview, Web AR being a tool that CNBS has developed to allow for customer self-service payments in a e-commerce scenario or on the web. And then we'll have a demo of the CNBS Web AR solution itself. I'll give a brief background about Paymetric's product known as XI Intercept for e-commerce and how that can help address PCI issues and concerns. And then we'll discuss the benefits of the entire solution as it's all packaged together and leave some time at the end for questions and answers. Next slide, please. All right, so Paymetric, the global standard and secure integrated payment acceptance for SAP. You can read these different topics that we like to discuss across the bottom in the black bar. We are SAP certified and have been for about 16 years now. SAP does expose an interface by which you can plug in and help assist or integrate with the processing of electronic payments. Paymetric is a level 1 PCI DSS compliant service provider. If you were to look out on the Visa site at level 1 PCI DSS compliant service providers, you'd find Paymetric's entry. The platform which we offer is a multi-tenant SaaS or software as a service platform, and we offer end-to-end tokenization and payment solutions, and our tokenization is patented. So as you can see in the boxes above, we offer unrivaled experience, quite a bit of SAP and payments experience within our corporation. We are a recognized leader with over 600 plus enterprise customers using our solutions, many of them in the Fortune 100 and 1000. We're very proud about many of the awards that we've won, particularly the award for Open AR, which is the basis of this Web AR solution. In 2002, that was an award given to Paymetric, and you'll see its use being exposed on the web now in the form of Web AR. We process over $30 billion annually in volume, $30 billion in volume through our platform. Very high customer retention rate, 99% plus, and financial stability and client focus are also traits that Paymetric has. So next slide, please. And I mentioned just a moment ago one of the Pinnacle Awards, which Paymetric has won. We are an award-winning company built on shared purpose and unremitting pursuit of excellence, lasting collaboration, accountability, and integrity. And for more than 15 years, we've been recognized for our work and honored for awards for technical innovation and thought leadership. We have won 3 Pinnacle Awards. As I mentioned, the first was for the underpinnings of what you'll see today. In 2002, the inaugural year of the Pinnacle Awards, we did receive an award for adding the ability within the SAP ERP product to accept credit card or electronic payments against customer open receivables. You can see other awards listed here, mostly in the security, the IT industries. From info security, we are a Global 100 Red Herring Award winner. We've been awarded many awards locally in Atlanta, where our company is headquartered, for the technology group, and are just very proud about the recognition that we've received across many industries for the solutions that we bring to market and that we offer to our customers. Quick look at some of our customer base. Again, we have over 600 customers, and the intent here is that you would be able to recognize quite a few of these brands just by looking at their logos. We also intend this slide to give you a sense for the fact that really we don't focus on any particular industry or vertical. You'll see companies across multiple industries and verticals listed here. We like to say inside Paymetric, any company who needs to accept electronic payments from their customers, any company who has sensitive data which they wish to tokenize and outsource the storage of that sensitive data to Paymetric in our cloud data vault, those are potential customers of Paymetric. So you'll see companies that focus on consumer or direct consumer sales, maybe a B2C type scenario, that are in consumer products, consumer electronics, things of that nature. You'll also see companies who use our solutions mostly for business-to-business transactions. A lot of those are in the pharmaceuticals and health sciences industries. Maybe wholesale distribution, industries such as that. So again, not necessarily a specific vertical or industry that Paymetric targets. We have customers that span multiple industries, multiple verticals. Anyone who needs to accept electronic payments can certainly benefit from Paymetric services. And we offer you a world-class client experience. We're the only SAP certified payment integration solution or provider that offers a dedicated support team. We do have people that you can reach any time of day or night, 24 hours, and speak to them about support issues. And we also have self-service tools available at any time, a client merchant portal, and then also an online FAQ system that we call XI Assist, a help site that lists many of the topics that you'd be interested in, some of our documentation, online information about how to perform certain tasks, both within the Paymetric products and then also within some of the other solutions that we integrate with, such as SAP. And why would you choose to go with Paymetric? Well, a lot of words listed here. Let's focus on a few of them: value, performance, credibility. Paymetric strives to offer you the best bang for your buck. PCI compliance is something that we take very seriously. The solutions that we offer are intended to help you as a merchant address the various PCI compliance requirements that you're required to adhere to. And as a company ourselves, because we are servicing over 600 other corporations and all of the customer data that they accumulate, PCI compliance is at the top of our list as well. We have expertise not only in online payments, but also in integration with various systems such as SAP, which we're going to be focusing on today. We are an SAP partner, a development partner. We have our own SAP development systems in-house. We have the ability to offer tokenization solutions not only to address PCI by tokenizing a card number, but any other data that you consider sensitive. We're very proud of the global brands who use our solutions and strive to offer a world-class service and make it available 24/7 so that our customers always have those connections that they need to continue to sell product, to sell services, and keep their revenue stream flowing. All right, with that said, Gerald, I'll turn it over to you to introduce CNBS.
Thank you so much, Eric, and I just want to do a quick introduction of myself as well. We're very excited to be here today with Paymetric and being able to present our Web AR solutions and the solutions we built around the Paymetric product offering. What CNBS does, we are based out of Cincinnati. We are focusing on SAP add-on software that resides within the SAP application and is native to the SAP ABAP stack. That said, we focus on high ROI solutions, rapid deployment. There is no data synchronization, so everything we're going to show around the Web AR product and around other products is absolutely no data syncing to a third-party solution. It all resides in SAP, which is a huge advantage. That said, that means that everything that you build with Paymetric or going to build with Paymetric is completely leveraged. So we don't code any business logic on the front end. It's all used out of SAP. And very nice as well, we can start very quickly with our solutions because we don't require additional infrastructure and hardware to get you started. So we can leverage typically your NetWeaver ECC environment and get you going within a couple of weeks of implementation. Next slide, please. A couple of customers of CNBS, and most of them match actually the customers that Paymetric has. So those are well-known brands that use our solutions and mostly use the Web AR solution as well for their online payment processing with their customers, for the Go Green initiative, for account statements, for invoices as PDF, for advance payments, and so on. Next slide. Why does the Paymetric partnership and the CNBS partnership make so much sense? So a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, when we met with Paymetric, this was pretty much a no-brainer because we are specializing in e-commerce solutions, and at that time we integrated immediately the e-commerce XI Intercept that Paymetric has in their product offering for XI Pay and XI Secure. To enable e-commerce solutions with PCI-compliant shopping basket. And then a year and a half ago, we actually extended that product offering for the Web AR solution that we are showing today, where the customers, Paymetric can offer their customers as well a way to log in to the online portal and then have their customers pay their open invoices via credit card, ACH, PayPal, view open account statements and open invoices. Next slide, please. So what are the typical pain points of Web AR and what does it address? And I'll just do a couple of slides and go then directly into the demo because I think most of the people on the call know the pain points they have today. So typically we're talking about archive and inflexible systems in place. Either we send a form in, it's not PCI compliant because the credit card is on there. We have to go phone, mail, fax. The customer has to call in. The call center is not available 24/7 for the customer, so payments can't be done on the weekends. And our statistics show most of the work that especially small and mid-sized businesses do are performed on a Sunday evening. They want to pay their bills. They want to get their open account statements and those things over the weekend and not be bugged by that during the business hours. So today they don't have a chance to call in. What the Web AR will enable is get rid of those archive systems and enable the customer with an online tool where they can log in 24/7, do a self-service, and pay their open invoices. What that means for different departments in the organization, their actual work in processing is reduced. So in accounts receivable, the accounts receivable person is not on the phone accepting the credit card, but that's done by the customer, which will then free up time for them to follow up, to reduce the DSO dates, to watch better their open outstanding balances and their risk customers. And so there's a shift of executing work into more strategic work that can happen for the customer. Next slide, please. What are the big benefits? We talked about that. Overall day sales outstanding reduction by shifting internal resources to different work because now the customer can go online, process open invoices, and pay them themselves. That will raise customer satisfaction, of course, reduces the cost of manual processing, and of course, by that, we eliminate the PCI risk because the customer puts in the credit card information. It's immediately tokenized. We'll show that in the demo through the Paymetric tools. And the raw credit card number never sees your system, not on the paperwork that's faxed in, not via phone call. So you're totally out of the PCI scope for that software and for that business process. Next slide, please. What are the highlights and big features? And of course, we have a functional description that describes all this in more detail. But the big benefits of our solutions are this is completely built on your SAP system. So we can leverage your SAP technology. Your configuration in FI is taken care of and leveraged. Your Paymetric Open AR configuration that you might already use today is completely leveraged. That means all the business logic and business capability that you configured in SAP will be leveraged by this tool. We are not recoding and reinventing all that. We just leverage what you already put your money towards with Paymetric and can use that functionality very quickly. We totally integrate in Paymetric's data intercept, which means the credit card numbers are always tokenized on your system. Your system never sees raw data, and I'll explain that later. It's client-side tokenization, so on the web browser, so that you really are not exposed from an infrastructure point of view either. We can do very quick adjustment of look and feels. We can take your UI from your website and mimic that in a matter of a day and a half, and apply the look and feel via style sheets on our application. We can do the account maintenance online, so we can store ACH, credit card tokens, PayPal information to reuse that in future. We have online statements that can either come from SAP directly, so if you have statements set up there, we can recreate that and generate on-the-fly PDFs, which is valid as well for invoices, delivery documents, and so on, if necessary. Or we can connect to an archive system if that's necessary, and you have a third-party solution in place. We accept, of course, anything that you have set up with Paymetric for your order processing or for your Paymetric Open AR processing, credit cards, e-check, PayPal, partial payments. All that is activated on our solution as well. And again, it ties into Paymetric's configuration, so we don't have to code that. It's configurable. Adobe PDF invoices, we talked about that, and download via Microsoft Excel in Excel file format for reconciliation purposes at the customer. Next slide, please. What's the big difference to alternatives? We are native to SAP, not a third-party solution. So that means there is no data synchronization to an external system. Anything we put on your system will reside within your SAP, so you have development quality, production already there. It's automatically backed up and secured with your SAP ECC system. We do not need a Java stack or Java layer. This is ABAP stack layer for the people that are more technical on the call. And we truly integrate to SAP components like the finance module, like the message determination for PDF outputs and so on. Big advantage as well is that you don't have to retrain your internal team to a new tool set. You have already ABAP people and a business person that does configuration in FI. So those can easily use their knowledge and do the ongoing maintenance. So there is no need for retrain on a different platform and support a different platform. And because of all that, because we are leveraging what you already have invested in your organization, the implementation process is very easy. We can put that in actually in as quickly as 3 weeks. So typically it's a 2-month process with the customer because of testing and release and go live launch. But we can leverage everything you configured in SAP, meaning all the business logic is already tested in your organization. So we can totally focus on the front end and UI optimization and on presenting it in your company's UI. Next slide, please. Again, this explains the no interfaces, where the CNBS Web AR sits within SAP ECC. It connects directly to the Paymetric OpenAR, which then connects all the data. And we do the same. We connect all the data in ECC, customers, invoices, the business logic, the tax, credit card, tokenized information, and all the reporting stuff is leveraged as well. So the huge advantage is when we deploy this solution, we don't focus on building interfaces. We don't focus on integrating third-party solutions. And that part typically in any of the web implementations for web products is 60% of the cost of an implementation. So we take all that out and focus on the front end and UI customization for your customers and not getting the data into our system. Next slide, please. I think that was a high-level overview about functionality. Let's go into the actual demo. So this is an example of a branded website which is running directly on SAP. We, of course, have a possibility to provide this in a single sign-on environment. I will show that with another customer in a minute as well, how that would work. But this is a standalone option where your users can actually request registration with your organization. So they fill out the request form, they put in the company name. That would go into a workflow in finance, and somebody would actually release then the account. And they would then get an email with the account information. So I will just log on as a user. Typically, it's the email as a user identifier and the password, so that's pretty standard. When I log on, the tool has 2 capabilities. For end users, they typically would not see this screen, but for power users at the customer, or if you have distribution where a customer handles multiple locations, or for your internal people that want to act on behalf of a customer, they would get, depending on the authorization they have, this screen to select customers within SAP and within their organization they have access to. So they can go in and pick any customer and act on behalf or pose as a customer. I select here our demo customer. We can, of course, do any welcome pages you would like to. So typically that is used for a message board for new information about the features and functionality, about new announcements with your customers. So that can be, of course, everything you see can be, of course, individually customized. Any texts come right out of SAP, text maintenance, so it's multi-language capable. We provide 6 languages out of the box, but we can upload any language you would like to have for your solution. And we have customers, of course, that have a very international approach and have pretty much all languages installed that are out there. Then from a functionality point of view, I can look at invoices, I can make payments, I can make advanced payments, and I can look at my account statements. Before I do that, I want to just point out the My Account section where I can get information about my account. I could see company data, what customer information, their payment terms, can change my password and those things. But the most important thing here is I can manage my payment methods. So the tool allows you to update the credit card, the e-check information, any payment types that are configured for your system. The customer can maintain themselves. Of course, as you can see, only the token will be stored in SAP because we tokenize on the front end. That means on the browser client, and then send the token into SAP, and the token is stored on the customer master record.
So let's go over to invoices, where I actually can look up open invoices. I can do different status. I can put in different characteristics. I can actually pick a certain invoice number if I want to, but I'll just leave that open. And all those fields, of course, can be configured and customized to your requirements. If I look up open invoices for the last 36 days, then I get a list. The list, of course, is completely configurable. We can pretty much show any information, any field out of the SAP system that is an SAP. This is highly configurable, and then can be, of course, enhanced as well. If you have special fields, if you have add-ons to the SAP standard, we can, of course, leverage that as well because we're sitting directly in SAP. If I want to go into a PDF and show and download an invoice, the original invoice PDF, we can have done that by generating the invoice on the fly from your message determination, or we can as well connect to an archive system where we pull it via a link to that archive system. So we are very flexible in the presentment of the invoices as well. If we want to go and actually check out the detail of the invoice, that can be configured and activated. We can go even beyond that. If you want to have delivery tracking activated, we could activate the link back to the delivery and then the tracking information to UPS, FedEx, and those folks as well, so that your customer can actually do, if there is a dispute management case, can go back and see did I even receive it, who accepted the product. Download via Excel, we mentioned that earlier. That's incorporated to enable an easy download for your customers, and then they can go to their department manager and walk through certain cases if they want to discuss it. Let's go next to make payments. And typically, the make payments is very simple. Again, we could activate more selection criteria, but we found with our customers that the simpler the better. So typically, show all open items that are due by a certain date. I get an easy list, can select an open item, can change the amount. If I want to pay $10 with a reason code for partial payment, again, could look into the original invoice again, like I did with the invoice list, but I'll skip this here for the moment and just move to the next screen. I can, of course, select down payments that were done for clearing, or select multiple items. And when I go then to continue, then I go to the checkout and clearing screen where I can select my payment method, e-check, PayPal, or credit card, and I'll just pick our credit card that we had. I could add a credit card as well for this, or update it from here. And again, this is all configurable to your requirements. So you can use all those options, but we have customers that just require a manual entry of the credit card every time. So they don't even allow a selection of lists, but this is pretty much the standard in the industry. But again, can be configured to requirements, what functionality you want to allow for your customers. And then it's as simple as clicking on Pay. And the customer will get a screen. We can activate email notification. We can activate the print. And for the Paymetric people, they will recognize the authorization number and authorization codes for the XI. So that got authorized immediately through Paymetric and posted in real time a finance document. What that finance document does, it does a clearing against the AR and puts it on your settlement account. And during the next settlement run, Paymetric takes over and processes the settlement. So everything that's leveraged in finance is what you're currently used already from a business process point of view with Paymetric. And the people that have the Paymetric OpenAR activated, it's the same process like one of your AR people would accept a credit card via the phone, put that information in the Paymetric OpenAR, do the clearing there. This tool is just a front-end extension for your customer. Thus, it's completely the same in the backend, so you don't have to change any of your business processes. And I think that's what all of the Paymetric customers love about this product, that then we are not changing the processes, but we totally integrate in what they have built so far. Advanced payments, pretty easy as well. We can configure that to have more input fields if necessary, but the easiest form could be I want to pay $100 on an account with a document number and a reference text, and then I will be guided again to the checkout screen where I can select my credit card e-check information, and that information is then processed and processes the payment and puts it as a down payment on the account. We mentioned before tokenization with Paymetric, so I just want to run through that again. If I would add a credit card, just that everybody really is aware of that functionality, because that's key for this application. The entry fields of the credit card maintenance are immediately tokenized on the front end by the Paymetric toolset. So if you have the Paymetric CI for Web AR active, then Paymetric, the Paymetric service takes over, and before we communicate with your SAP system, on the front-end client, on the browser, the tokenization happens and then passes the token for authorization request to your SAP system. So your infrastructure never gets in touch with any raw credit card information. Account statements, two options. We can either pull account statements from an archive system if you have that. Some of our customers have that configured, and we can show the last couple of months, of course, that are stored as PDF. Or we can create the account statements on the fly by different selection drop-down boxes or putting in a date range, and we would just simulate whatever you have set up in SAP as account statement creation. In our demo system, it's EDIS. Everybody that has SAP knows that system. But it would create your PDF that you have configured in your accounting environment. So there is no rebuild or new build necessary for account statements. You can very easily activate that functionality. That was overall the functionality of the Web AR toolset. I want to show one more option, because we're now already a little behind time, but I want to show one more option of a different customer just from a look and feel, which is Vera Bradley. They are using the Web AR functionality as part of our e-commerce solution. So you can see that this can be done as a single sign-on integrated product as well, where in the document search environment, the make payment is integrated. Again, look and feel, all can be adjusted. The customers chooses the UI, the look and feel, and we can brand and change it very quickly in to whatever your likings are. So single sign-on is a big topic for a lot of customers, fully supported, of course, with SAP portals, with other portals. That is another big deal for us to integrate that. All the other functionality is pretty much the same. Let me share one more different look and feel. Another look and feel would be Animal Health International, just that people on the webinar can see different branding options and branding capabilities. So the tool set can be completely adjusted to your corporate identity.
Very good. Thank you, Gerald. Just a reminder, if you do have questions you'd like us to address at the end in just a few minutes, please feel free to enter them now in the GoToMeeting or the GoToWebinar control panel, and we'll take those questions in a few moments. The slide that you do see on the screen now describes the XI Intercept solution that's been pre-integrated into the CNBS Web AR tool. As you can see here, the flow would be that as a end customer logs on via their client browser and it's time for them to enter their method of payment, the cardholder box that you see displayed here would be rendered by Paymetric rather than by the CNBS tool, and that's done via some JavaScript that's embedded into the page, so that as it's being rendered on the client's browser, a call is made from that browser out to the merchant's XI Intercept account at Paymetric, and the information is returned on how to render the various fields, the card type, the number, the cardholder name, etc. When the end customer actually enters the information there and clicks on the button labeled Submit or Pay or whatever you choose to label it, immediately a call is made from the client browser to the merchant's XI Intercept account, and the card number itself is tokenized, and then that information is returned back to the client browser so that it can be posted back to the merchant's web servers. Again, as Gerald explained, the intent there is really to help address PCI concerns and tokenize the data between the client browser and the merchant's account at Paymetric before that information is ever exposed within the merchant's web servers. Try and prevent the exposure of raw cards only past tokens, and then the token at that point is either stored in the web servers for some point of time, maybe turned around immediately in an authorization request, maybe pushed down into an SAP system. In the case that you saw here with Web AR, it's immediately used inside of SAP to call for an authorization, and if successful, a clearing document is posted to relieve the customer liability. Next slide, please. So the benefits of the entire solution, when you take everything together, you've taken the presentation layer that CNBS offers and the functionality that they've built into that presentation layer for choosing which open items to pay for, to being able to display the invoices in a PDF format, etc. You get the automation of the clearing of open receivables, and it's in a customer self-service solution, so your end customer is able to do that without the assistance of a CSR. It allows your customers to, in real time, search, view, and pay open invoices online. There are other solutions that offer electronic bill presentment and payment, such as you've seen here, but they work in more of a batch extract mode. So perhaps once a day, you would take an extract of all the customer open items that you have in your SAP system and load them into this external bill presentment and payment site. The CNBS solution is designed differently. It is a real-time extraction of that particular customer's open items, so that if a payment is made, it's posted immediately in SAP. You don't have to worry about the customer trying to do it online and thinking something went wrong and then calling up the call center and posting a double payment. It is a real-time posting into your SAP system to update your general ledger immediately. The solution also helps to reduce overhead and manage open receivables manually. Obviously, you can reduce days sales outstanding by accepting payment against open invoices. The solution can accept credit cards, and that includes credit, debit, purchase cards, etc. Electronic checks or ACH, as well as alternative payment types like PayPal, and you can post partial payments. No need to always pay off an invoice in full. If you wish to allow your customers to make partial payments, you can. As I mentioned, a real-time integration with SAP, and you can improve your customer service by giving them this self-service option rather than them only having access to your call center give them the ability to manage this themselves. We all know that we like to log on to our utility company, log on to maybe our cable operator, whatever it may be, our bank account, and look at that information at our own pace whenever we want to. This would give that same option to your customers. The solution is pre-integrated with Paymetric's XI Intercept for eCom, which we just talked about, and that's going to help you reduce the cost and scope of your PCI DSS audit while also improving data security. And finally, it does support the Go Green initiative with paperless invoicing and statements. Rather than needing to print out and mail invoices to your customers, they certainly can access this site themselves, view that information, save a copy locally, or print it out if they wish. Next slide, please. All right, with that, we wanted to give you our contact information. So for myself, Eric Bushman, and for Gerald Schlechter, we do have our email addresses listed here. We would welcome you to contact us with any follow-up questions you may have from today's webinar. If you have any questions about the functionality, would like to schedule a demo for your company of this solution in particular, feel free to contact either of us. And with that, I think that takes us to the end. If you do have questions that you would like to ask, again, we invite you to enter those into the GoToWebinar control panel in the chat section, and we'd be happy to take them now. Gerald, looking through the list, the first question here would be for you. You mentioned that it's a fairly rapid implementation. What is needed on the SAP side from a, let's see, a hardware or transport perspective to implement this solution?
So that's actually a pretty good question. Why can we deploy this so rapidly? So typically, if a Paymetric is in place, the Paymetric configuration is done for the Paymetric OpenAR, we only need to load the transport into the SAP system and activate the toolset. So we use the NetWeaver web service, the SITF for the technical people on there to activate the service. And the only other technical requirement you would have is you would have to have a reverse proxy on your firewall in order to have secure access via HTTPS.
Okay, and the answer from the Paymetric perspective would be that in order to load the OpenAR solution and the Web AR solution, the OBOP code that this leverages, it would be a transport provided by Paymetric that you would load into your SAP system. Some configuration is required in the SAP IMG and also in Paymetric's IMG just to ensure that the payment card processing functionality is linked in and activated. And at that point, once CNBS loads their solution and integrates it to SAP, everything's ready to go. Gerald, another question here. Do we host the website or does CNBS?
So the customer would host the website in this case because it's sitting on your SAP system.
Yeah, so a merchant would host that directly from their SAP solution, and Paymetric does offer a web-based portal where you can log on and view the transactions that have originated from that particular system, but in terms of the CNBS Web AR solution, that is served up and hosted from your SAP environment.
And of course, if the SAP system is hosted, then it's in that environment.
Yes, okay. Thank you. Good clarification. Another question that would be best for you, Gerald. Let's see, if we offer payment terms and we don't take credit cards, can we limit the use of payment to e-check only?
Yes, definitely. So typically, it's done by payment terms, and it's fully configurable that depending on the payment terms on the customer, we can either activate e-check and credit card or one of those. So you have the choice of configuring that yourself.
And then there was a follow-on question to that, which I'll answer. It says, is e-check ACH? You'll hear those terms used interchangeably quite a bit. So electronic check is essentially the same as an ACH transaction. It's referred to as e-check when it's the process of entering a bank account and routing number, usually when the customer does it, or it's entered by a call center agent. But yes, it is effectively the same as ACH. All right, another question here is someone asking, we had a custom tool built for us that allows us to perform an AVS or address verification override internally if the billing address is not registered for international clients. Would this be available on CNBS, or would we perform the same standard Paymetric, OpenAR, and SAP? I'll address that. So the address verification service, AVS check, is part of the authorization attempt. Whenever you try and authorize a card, it would, or you are allowed to send an address to be compared with the billing address of that customer's credit card statement. And a response will come back letting you know if it matched, if it partially matched, or if it didn't match at all. Because that is part of the authorization process, it happens from the SAP interface after CNBS has passed the captured payment details down to SAP so that it can be interfaced to Paymetric. So if that custom tool is within ABAP code on the SAP side, it would continue to be leveraged. You would not need to make any additional changes just because your source of the transaction is on the Web AR solution. All right, with that, it looks like we have answered all the questions that were asked. We, again, apologize that we had some audio issues, but hopefully you were able to get a good look at the CNBS solution, a very powerful tool for customer self-service, allowing your customers to log on and manage their open receivables themselves. Allows them to view them, make payment against them, download them, print them, whatever the case may be. And the solution is provided fully integrated out of the box with Paymetric's payment service and tokenization or XI intercept service. Gerald, thank you so much for taking some time today to share with us and show this solution. And with that, we want to thank everyone for attending, and everyone have a great rest of your day. Thank you.